Hello my friends, does size matter in knife throwing? We're gonna discuss it today. So, let's get started. Alright, first we're gonna be talking about small throwing knives. I will be telling about advantages and also disadvantages. So let's start first with the positive. Small throwing knives, since they are very tiny, you can use them very conceivable because it's so easy to put them like this into the pocket, and you can have even 10 of these small knives, really no problem, in the pocket, and you can carry them very easily. Also, another advantage of this is the price. For a set of such a tiny throwing knife, you will pay around $15–20, something like this. Very cheap compared to the custom throwing knives where you can pay like $100–200 and more. So you will save money with these a lot. Also, another advantage is you can use this for home throwing. So for example, you don't have this awesome place like I have in the forest, or you can't throw in the forest somewhere it's not so legal. So you can have in your home, for example, like a pizza box target, styrofoam target, and you can throw these really no problem, and they will not damage the target so fast as the bigger knife. If you would throw big blades into the styrofoam or the pizza box, it would be instantly destroyed. So I believe this is a great point to have the small throwing knives. But now we can talk about a little disadvantages. So disadvantage with these small throwing knives, if you are mainly the beginner, you have to go very close to the target because it's really not so easy to throw them from the longer distances. So about 2 meters, 2.5, very close, like 8–9 feet, and you can use actually all the techniques you want. But my favorite with such a small throwing knives is gonna be military half spin like this. Also, another disadvantage with some of these cheap throwing knives is they are often very sharp, so you have to be very careful on this. And often when you are buying them from the website, it's not written like what's the weight, what's the length, really often. So maybe you see like this badass picture like, oh, Hollywood kunai or something like this, and you will receive such a small knife. The very small knife would be like this. I don't know what's exactly, like 10 centimeters or something like this, 12. For good throwing knives, you need at least 20 centimeters, all right? And thickness 5 or 6 millimeters. This one, look at that, can you see? It's like 2 millimeters, which is really thin. And like I said, you need to go very close. And sometimes these smaller knives have problem to stick into the tough wood. But if you will do technique right, it should be okay. So we can try first the more softer target, which is this one on the bottom. Beautiful on the first try. Now we can go the medium. That one it's like a more tough. You see, it didn't stuck. Now it did. And this one I think is the most durable. So let's see if our small knife will stick there as well. Like I said, compared to the other blades, these are way more difficult to throw. So if you are a total beginner, now we stuck it. If you are a total beginner, you could have really hard time to throwing these compared to the bigger blades, which is huge disadvantage. I got similar knives when I was starting out, and I was like so discouraged. I was like, whoa, this is stupid, why I bought this, you know. And also another big mistake that a lot of beginners are doing, they will buy several knives like this, you know, like I spent $20. And if you will do this 3 or 4 times, you already spent the same amount of money that you would spend on the custom throwing knives that could last you for your lifetime. So keep that in mind. Throwing knives are really, these small ones are not so bad for the beginners, but you will be limited with the distance and also with the technique. Like I said, my favorite is military house spin, but in general my favorite is no spin. And with such a tiny knife, it's so difficult. Look at that. I don't even know how I would hold it for the no spin. Let's try just for the fun, maybe like this with the Shuriken Jitsu style. I think I not even tried it with a small knife. Ah, you see? One stick. Very, very difficult. And from all the way up here, I don't even know if I would be able to stick it. Let's try for fun. Oh! Totally on the bottom stick. So this just show you guys how difficult and not so practical small throwing knives are. But like I said, maybe if I would be going like for the holiday and I can't take so many things, like this is easy. You can pull it up in the pocket and you have something for the throwing. But in general, especially if you are a total beginner, definitely don't go for this, because you can buy for about the same amount, maybe even cheaper. You can get constructional nails, or like last time I had these mason spikes. Those you can a little bit sharpen up, and it's way much better because they are thicker and also heavier, which will have so much better feeling for the throwing for you. And also, big disadvantage with these small cheap throwing knives is, maybe I will be able to show you, if you will hit it bad, the rebounces are absolutely insane from the target. Let's see if I can. Ah, now I stick it. Wow, you see? And if you are not paying attention, it can rebound all the way up here, smash you into the face or something like this. So you have to be very, very careful on that. And also another disadvantage is, if they fell somewhere you don't see, it's very difficult to spot them in the ground, because like I said, they are very small, so they can easily hide under the leaves. So another huge disadvantage, that when they will fall, it's very, very difficult to spot. So like I said, if you are a total beginner, definitely try to save up money and avoid cheap small throwing knives. Like I said, you will have fun only like for the home throwing into the soft targets, but otherwise they really suck. Now we can focus on the bigger knives. And now I have this massive custom bovie by my friend Kari from Finland. Right away, guys, you can see this knife, it's massive. It has really great weight and also so much bigger compared to the previous kunai. Look at that. Easily comparable, right? This one, like I said, was very, very difficult for the longer distances. But now, compared to the big bovie, this one, it's so easy to stick, like a 5, 6, 7 longer distances, because such a type of knife, it's mainly preferable for the spin throwers. It's very similar like an X throwing. The more bigger knife you have, the easier is to stick it like an X, especially when the weight is more on the blade. It's so easy for the spin throwing. You will find the sweet spot from the target, and after, with such a knife, you can do it every single time. Maybe we can talk also about disadvantages for such a big blade compared to the small kunai that I can easily fit into the pocket. Now you can't do this with such a knife. Maybe you could, but it would definitely pierce your jacket or something like this. So you will need the sheath, and of course put it like onto the belt or something like this, no problem. This one is really unique. It's not so like a classic bovie shape, but absolutely awesome custom piece. Also, a disadvantage compared to the cheap small kunai is, this is the custom knife and it was handmade. That means the craftsman, now we're talking about Kari from Finland, he spent so many hours doing this knife, many hours, and that's also why the price will be way higher compared to the knife that is made just in the factory and not finished by hand after by somebody. So for this knife you can expect that you will pay around maybe like $100 or maybe even more. So you can only imagine that if you need 3 for the competition, because we are throwing on 3 separate targets and after we are going on the longer distances, for such 3 knives you will spend at least $300. So for somebody who's on the budget and maybe don't want to spend from the beginning like so much money, this is big disadvantage, you know, like because you can't afford it and you also thinking like, oh, why I would need such a big knife, you know. Like now I will tell you the advantage. So like I said, usually for the competition we are starting on the 3 meters distance. Let's maybe we can do steps. So usually it's like 1, 2, 3, like usually big huge steps, and after for the full spin I hold it like this with a handshake grip. After you aim, pull your arm to the back and let the knife slide out of your hand. This is so easy, and like I said, when you will figure it out the sweet spot from the target, it was over rotated, so we have to be a little bit closer or less snap with the knife. So maybe around here. Now it was under rotated. That's why I don't like spin throwing so much, because you have to adjust compared to the no spin throwing. So maybe now, beautiful. Even shake one of the target. So as you can see, beautiful stick right in the middle, and it was somewhere around here. Okay, so now I should be able to stick it no problem, as you see. And also it's big advantage for such a huge knife that you easily can see it spinning. So you see like, oh, it was under rotated or over rotated, because the small kunai, it spins so fast that sometimes you have really hard time to figure it out. It was like a over rotated, under rotated. But with this big bovie, like, it's so easy to see. You see? Now under rotated. So I would have to snap more or make a little tiny step back. As you can see, I don't have market distances anywhere from here, because I'm throwing mostly the no spin throwing. But of course, with such a big knife, before we had problem to throw no spin with kunai. But with this from Kari, this bovie, it's mainly spin knife, right? But no spin, first try, no problem. So as you can see, already huge advantage. We can try tougher target. Whoa, you guys okay? The camera fell down. So one more time, no spin with the tougher target on the top. You see, really no problem, because the length and the weight of the knife will also help you with the penetration. That's maybe what I forgot to mention with the small kunai. The less weight and the length on the blade, the less penetration you will have into the target. So like I said, for such a big bovie, if you will throw it with the full force, the penetration will be insane. But like I said, it's mainly such a big bovie for the spin throwers. So if you are going for the no spin throwing, I would look for the something else. So what do you think about it, guys? Does size matter in knife throwing or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Personally, if I could choose, I would go for the medium size, like these flying dragons that you can get now on the shopsharpblades.com, because you can use them for any technique and mainly for the instinctive and no spin throwing. So if you want the same one and support the channel, there's going to be a link in the description below. But for today, that's it. So thank you buddy for watching. Share, like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.